Hello friends, today in this video my topic of discussion is Michel Foucault's view on archaeology. In my previous video I have discussed author function. Now in this video on Michel Foucault's view, first of all we should know what is archaeology. Archaeology is the study of past by examining the remains of things that people left behind. These remains can include tools, buildings, pottery, jewelry, and even human remains. Archaeologists use these remains to learn about how people lived, what they believed in, and how they interact with their environment. Archaeology is a very old field of study and it has helped us learn a lot about the past. For example, archaeologists have helped us to understand the rise and fall of ancient civilizations, the development of new technologies, and the spread of human populations around the world. Now I am going to tell some of things that archaeologists do. Archaeologists survey areas to look for potential archaeological sites. They excavate archaeological sites to recover artifacts and other remains. They analyze artifacts and other remains to learn about the past. They interpret the results of their research to tell stories about the past. Archaeology is a very important field of study and it helps us to understand our own history and the history of the world. Archaeologists use a variety of tools and techniques to study the past, including surveying, excavating, analyzing artifacts, and interpret data. Archaeology is a collaborative field, and archaeologists often work with other scientists, such as historians, anthropologists, and geologists. Archaeologists have the opportunity to learn about the past and to help to preserve it for future generations. Now I am going to tell what is Michel Foucault's view on archaeology. Archaeology is a term, a method of studying the history of knowledge. It was developed by Michel Foucault in his book The Archaeology of Knowledge, published in 1969. Foucault's method of archaeology studies how discourses emerge and change over time. It does not focus on the deeper meaning of discourses, their logical content, or their psychological implications. It looks at the conditions that allow discourses to exist and the way in which they are transformed. Archaeological analysis studies discourse only at its level of positive existence and never takes discourse to be a trace or record of something outside of itself. In his discussion of the archive, Foucault writes that the term archaeology marks the distance necessary for the historian to be able to describe the archive with clarity. This distance is not just a methodological requirement, but a critical and pervasive feature of the history. The distance between the present and the past is not just a requirement of the archaeological method, it is also a crucial and pervasive feature of history. History is defined by difference, and this difference is what the archaeological method tries to describe. In other words, the archaeological method requires us to look at the past from a distance because the past is different from the present. This distance allows us to see the past more clearly and to understand how it is different from our own time. Archaeology also has strong connections of positivity. Foucault's method always describes only the positive, verifiable aspects of discourse, as one might describe a physical artifact or monument. Archaeology is about examining the discursive traces and orders left by the past in order to write a history of the present. In other words, archaeology is about looking at history to understand the process that led to what we are today. In simple terms, Foucault's archaeology is a method of analyzing the history of knowledge. It is based on the idea that knowledge is not a linear progression, but rather a series of discontinuities. Foucault argues that different periods in history have different epistemes or systems of thought that govern what is considered to be true knowledge. These epistemes are not simply a matter of individual beliefs, but are embedded in the language in institutions of a particular time. Foucault's archaeology is a way of uncovering these epistemes and understanding how they have shaped our understanding of the world. It is a critical method that can be used to challenge the dominant discourses of our time. Now I am going to tell some key concepts of Foucault's archaeology. Number one, discursive formations. Discursive formations are the sets of rules and practices that govern the production of knowledge in a particular period. Number two, epistemes. Epistemes are the underlying systems of thought that make certain types of knowledge possible. Number three, assemblages. Assemblages are the networks of relations that connect different discursive formations. Foucault's archaeology has been influential in a number of fields, including history, philosophy, and critical theory. It is a powerful tool for understanding the way in which knowledge is produced and shaped by power. Thank you, friends. In my next video, I will discuss another term, archive. Hope to see you in the next video.